The year is 1945. World War II, a conflict of unprecedented devastation, has finally come to an end. Millions lie dead, entire cities reduced to rubble. The world, weary from war, yearns for a lasting peace. From this shared desire, the United Nations emerged. 50 nations, united in their hope for a better future, gathered in San Francisco to sign the UN Charter. This document, a testament to international cooperation, laid the foundation for an organization dedicated to preventing future conflicts and fostering global harmony. The horrors of World War II served as a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of nations and the devastating consequences of unchecked aggression. The UN, born from the ashes of this global conflict, represented a collective determination to break free from the cycle of war and forge a new path for humanity. Its architects envisioned a world where dialogue replaced violence and cooperation triumphed over conflict. The UN's creation marked a pivotal moment in history, a beacon of hope in a world still reeling from the devastation of war. The UN was not the first attempt at creating a global peacekeeping organization. Before the United Nations, there was another ambitious effort to maintain world peace. Its predecessor, the League of Nations, had been formed after World War I with similar aspirations. The League was born out of the devastation of the Great War with the hope of preventing such a catastrophe from ever happening again. However, the League ultimately failed to prevent the outbreak of another devastating conflict. Despite its noble goals, it struggled to maintain peace and stability in a world still reeling from the horrors of war. Its weaknesses, rooted in a lack of enforcement power and widespread participation, became painfully evident as the world descended into war once more. The League's structure and mechanisms were not robust enough to handle the aggressive ambitions of certain nations. The League's inability to effectively address the aggressive actions of nations like Germany, Italy, and Japan exposed its limitations and ultimately led to its downfall. These countries blatantly defied the League's principles, and the organization was powerless to stop them. One of the League's most significant flaws was its dependence on collective security. This concept was meant to ensure that all member states would come to the aid of any one of them that was attacked. The idea was that an attack on one member would be considered an attack on all, deterring aggression through the promise of collective action. In theory, this was a powerful deterrent against war. However, this system relied on the willingness of member states to act. And in practice, national interests often trumped collective responsibility. Many countries were reluctant to commit their resources and soldiers to conflicts that did not directly threaten them. When faced with the threat of war, many nations prioritized their own security over their commitments to the League. This self-interest weakened the League's ability to present a united front against aggressors. This lack of unity and decisive action undermined the League's credibility and ultimately rendered it powerless to prevent the outbreak of World War II. The failure of the League of Nations was a sobering lesson in the complexities of international diplomacy and the challenges of maintaining global peace. Learning from the failures of the League, the founders of the UN sought to create a more robust and effective organization. They aimed to avoid the pitfalls that had plagued the League of Nations, such as its inability to prevent conflicts and its lack of enforcement power. They established a framework that balanced the sovereignty of individual nations with the need for collective action. This delicate balance was crucial in ensuring that nations could work together while still maintaining their independence and unique identities. At the heart of this framework lie the 6 principal organs of the UN: the General Assembly, the Security Council, the Economic and Social Council, ECOSOC, the Trusteeship Council, the International Court of Justice, and the Secretariat. Each of these organs has a specific mandate and function, contributing to the overall mission of the UN. Each organ plays a distinct role, working in concert to address the multifaceted challenges facing the world. From peacekeeping to human rights, from economic development to international law, these organs ensure that the UN can tackle a wide range of issues. The General Assembly, often referred to as the Parliament of Nations, provides a forum for all member states to have an equal voice. It is a unique platform where every country, regardless of size or power, can participate in global decision-making. It is here that global issues are debated, resolutions are passed, and the UN's budget is determined. The General Assembly's decisions, while not legally binding, carry significant moral and political weight. The Security Council, tasked with maintaining international peace and security, holds the power to authorize military action, impose sanctions, and dispatch peacekeeping forces. Its decisions are binding and can have immediate and far-reaching consequences. The ECOSOC focuses on economic, social, and environmental issues, promoting international cooperation and development. It works with various specialized agencies, NGOs, and other stakeholders to address global challenges such as poverty, education, and climate change. The Trusteeship Council, now largely inactive, was established to oversee the transition of former colonies to independence. Its work was instrumental in guiding many nations to self-governance and ensuring a smooth transition to sovereignty. The International Court of Justice, also known as the World Court, settles legal disputes between states and provides advisory opinions on international law. Its rulings contribute to the development of international legal standards and the peaceful resolution of conflicts. Finally, the Secretariat, led by the Secretary-General, serves as the administrative backbone of the UN, implementing the organization's vast array of programs and initiatives. The Secretariat's work is essential in coordinating the efforts of the UN's various organs and ensuring that the organization's goals are met efficiently and effectively. The power of the Security Council. The Security Council stands as the UN's most powerful body, entrusted with the crucial responsibility of maintaining international peace and security. It is the only UN body with the authority to issue binding resolutions to member states. Its decisions carry the weight of international law, and its actions can have profound implications for global affairs. From imposing sanctions to authorizing the use of force, the Council's reach is extensive and impactful. The Security Council is composed of 15 member states, 5 of which hold permanent seats: China, France, Russia, the United Kingdom, and the United States. These nations, known as the P5, were granted permanent membership due to their significant roles in the establishment of the UN and their status as major powers post-World War II. These permanent members, often referred to as the P5, possess the power to veto any resolution brought before the Council. This veto power is a unique and significant feature, giving these nations considerable influence over the Council's decisions. The remaining 10 non-permanent members are elected by the General Assembly for 2-year terms, ensuring geographical representation and a diversity of perspectives. This rotation allows for a broader range of voices and experiences to be heard within the Council. The Security Council's power to veto is a subject of both praise and criticism. On one hand, it is seen as a necessary tool for maintaining international stability and preventing hasty or ill-considered actions. Proponents argue that it is essential for ensuring the effectiveness of the Council, as it prevents the adoption of resolutions that lack the support of the most powerful nations. They believe that the veto power helps to foster dialogue and compromise among the major powers. They contend that the veto power encourages consensus building and prevents the UN from becoming embroiled in conflicts that it cannot effectively address. By requiring the agreement of the P5, the Council is more likely to take actions that have a realistic chance of success. Critics, however, argue that the veto power is undemocratic and gives disproportionate influence to a select few. They point out that this can lead to inaction in the face of urgent crises, as the interests of the P5 can override the collective will of the international community. They point to instances where the veto has been used to block action against the interests of the permanent members, even in the face of egregious human rights violations or threats to international peace. This has led to calls for reform, with some advocating for limitations on the use of the veto in cases of mass atrocities or severe humanitarian crises. The General Assembly, composed of all 193 UN member states, embodies the principle of sovereign equality. Each member state, regardless of its size, wealth, or military might, has one vote in the Assembly. This equal representation ensures that all nations have a platform to voice their concerns, share their perspectives, and contribute to shaping the global agenda. The General Assembly serves as a forum for multilateral diplomacy, where nations engage in dialogue, negotiate agreements, and work together to address shared challenges. The General Assembly's decisions, while not legally binding, carry significant moral and political weight. They reflect the collective will of the international community and often serve as a catalyst for action by member states, regional organizations, and civil society. The Assembly plays a crucial role in setting international norms, promoting human rights, and advancing economic and social development. Its resolutions and declarations have addressed a wide range of issues, from climate change and disarmament to poverty eradication and the protection of refugees. The General Assembly's work is carried out through a complex system of committees, commissions, and working groups. These subsidiary bodies provide specialized forums for in-depth discussions on specific issues, allowing member states to engage in more focused and technical deliberations. The General Assembly's committees cover a wide range of topics, including disarmament and international security, economic and financial matters, social, humanitarian and cultural issues, legal affairs, and administrative and budgetary matters. Each committee elects its own officers, sets its agenda, and adopts its own rules of procedure. The work of the General Assembly's committees is essential for the functioning of the UN as a whole. They provide a platform for member states to negotiate and draft resolutions on a wide range of issues. These resolutions, once adopted by the General Assembly, serve as a roadmap for international cooperation and action. The committees also play a vital role in monitoring the implementation of UN programs and initiatives, holding the Secretariat accountable for its actions, and ensuring that the organization's resources are used effectively.